So the H-1B visa program is important. There are about almost 5 lakh Indians who are affected in some way, directly or indirectly, by any changes to the H-1B program. I think a few things. One, I think India is conscious of the fact that for any country, their immigration regime tends to be a sovereign matter, including India's. And so, and in that sense, it's really up to every government to design their own visa policies. That's really up to those governments. A few considerations, however. One, I think industry has raised some concerns about whether it is able to get sufficient talent for jobs, including Indian-based MNCs, but also US-based companies as well. So that is one concern, but that's largely a business matter rather than a government-to-government matter. The second issue is that the government has raised was the potential humanitarian consequences for separation of families, for H-1B visa holders who are abroad, when there were concerns a few days ago that such people would not be allowed to enter into the country absent a $100,000 fee. Fortunately, the White House clarified that that was not the case, that existing H-1B visa holders would not be affected, and that these new rules would apply for more long-term from next year for the visa lottery. One last, I think, consideration is that the US remained, until recently, I mean this was before Operation Sindoor, the negative opinion of the US and India was actually quite low. In one survey conducted earlier this year, it was only 19% of Indians expressed a negative view of India, which is amongst the lowest in the world. I think Israel only, and amongst a few other countries, is lower. And a big reason for that was, I think, this idea that the US was an attractive place for education and employment. Now, it is unclear whether in the long term, if more and more conditions and restrictions are placed, whether that will change over time. Now, that's obviously not something weighing on the Trump administration's minds, but something to consider.
71% of the H-1B visa goes to Indians itself, but you have to understand that majority of the visas are being used by the US companies, not the Indian IT services companies. And I think I've seen a lot of hype on that issue. I think it works in favor of India, because you have to understand from a US perspective, H-1B was being abused in some manner. And they would like to bring in high-end, high-quality people to the U.S. So that means that Indian workers who are coming to the U.S. on H-1B will get much, much higher compensation as they adopt to the new environment, which is getting the new H-1B. But more important is the low-end work will shift offshore into India mainly itself. So I think even though there's so much hype on H-1B, there is a very minimal damage to India, its economy, and its export of IT. There are roughly 171 million workers in the US, and an H-1B being issued is around 85,000, and total number of H-1B workers in the US is around 700,000. Yes, it does have an impact on innovations. It does have an impact on startups, but will it impact the economy? No. I think you have a $30 trillion economy, which is quite resilient, growing substantially. So I see no impact on the H-1B price hike on the visa issue. And also, if it kind of curtails certain number of people, the impact will be very minimal.